just see the first and last page of the trust agreement. That's fine, because the first page is going to have the description of the trust, what's the name, EIN number, and on the last is going to be the notarization of that trust. They're just going to ask for that. Some places, very few, but most places will not need that. The DMV will not need it. They will take a trust certification. How I know? That's what I gave them. And I'll show y'all in a minute. But before I do that, let me just show y'all an example of a trust. Hang on. For those of you who do not know what that is, how do I move this over here? Pull this up. Bank. All right, this is a sample. Let me share the screen. This is what a copy. This is what you're gonna get after the webinar is over. These templates here, something like this. This is an example of a trust. It's got all the terms. I'm just scanning, scrolling through, and not gonna read all this. It's too long, but you'll get this. You get a copy of this. All right. This is just a basic trust. You know, you can take this document and customize it. Do your research. Do your looking up. I also set up trusts. My partner in business, Al Bay, he sets up trusts as well. We do it for you. Of course, that is comes at a fee when we do it. Here it is in this trust. It says number 7, to sell, convey, grant options to purchase, lease, transfer, exchange, otherwise dispose any trust assets as terms deemed advisable, to execute and deliver deeds, leases, bill of sale, and other instruments of whatever character, and take cause to be taken all action deemed necessary or proper. So this is one of those statements I was talking about that you need to have in there, but this one is a little vague. When I show you my trust certification, it's going to be very specific because the DMV is going to be looking for a specific language. If it's not there, they're not going to let you put that car in a trust. Okay. This is why some years ago, people were going down to the DMV to put a car in the trust. It didn't work. And here's the problem. A lot of us had taken people's word on face value without doing our own research. I don't mind y'all fact checking me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't get everything right. So you should always fact check your information. Never take anyone's word for it. Because a lot of people went down to that DMV I think that webinar was done like 5-6 years ago. And it was getting shut down. And then, you ain't doing it right. They was blaming the end user for it. No, it's because you didn't have certain language. How do I know? Because when I went down there, and the DMV will tell you exactly what you need. They're gonna tell you. They don't mind putting the trust. They got information on the website telling you what to do. You see? So that's a sample of a trust there. Any questions on this document before I move on to trust certification?
I got a quick question.
Go ahead, Edward. I don't hear from.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Yeah, I just this might sound kind of crazy, but does the vehicle have to be paid off before you can place it in the trust?
Yes. It needs to be, you have to have a clear title, no liens.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
But this webinar, to be clear, is showing you how to purchase a car with your trust. So if you're going to buy a car, instead of buying it in your name, you're going to buy this car with your trust. Your trust is going to be the buyer. Okay? And I'm going to go through that process of what you need, how that works.
Okay, thank you.
Now, just to touch on what Edward, that's a very good question that he asked, because some of you guys already have cars that you want to put in trust. So basically, let me get through the trust certification. If I don't touch on it, someone remind me that I need to break that part down. I shouldn't forget. Let me write that down. Because I had to do that. I actually had to do that because I went and bought a car last year in April. But because the previous car was in my name and I had a balance on the loan, uh, I they titled it to my name, and then after they titled it to my name, the car was fully paid for. I wrote a check for the car, and then I went and titled it over to me as soon as within weeks of, buying that car. So let me discuss that. And because when you go to the dealership to buy the car, they're going to do all of the registering and titling for you. So there's a little different process there. All right, so can I move on? Is everybody good?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right. All right, let's go to trust certification where I was before. Share the screen. Here's my, I think this is where I was here. All right, so you created a trust. We're going to trust certification. A trust certificate is often used to provide proof of trust exists and validity of third parties. I read all of this. All right, so let's show you an example of a trust certification. This is one example. I actually want to show y'all mine. I'm gonna give you guys this one, but I'm gonna also show you. Yes, you will need to get a tax identification number for your trust. That's the only way the banks can do business and you can get loans. You need that. All right. You go to irs.gov. I'll go there in a second and show you. And it has all the things. Now, this particular trust certification is specifically for a bank. Okay. This is for a bank. If you're opening up a bank account, we're not going to talk about all the details about that. But this is one is used for a bank. Because why do I say that? Because in here, it has no language about taking title to property. Okay. And this will not work in a titling a car through the DMV. It will not work. This one will not work for you. All right. So let me find my actual. Okay. I just downloaded it. Peace. What's up? What's up? Let me make sure y'all can hear me. Some music playing. So what's going on? I hope you guys are safe. The weather is supposed to be bad across the country, and I know it was raining here all day. We had a little ice rain yesterday. It wasn't too bad, but they're expecting the temperatures to drop significantly, so the roads are going to be icy. So they're starting classes late tomorrow. So you get to sleep in because of the weather. But I hope you guys are safe. Everything's good. How's your new year going so far? New year, how's that going? This is the first Monday show of the year. Somebody text me. Let me see what they say. Yeah. First Monday show of the year. And someone was on the show yesterday and they wanted me to talk about trust because their mother was interested. They had got their mom interested and they wanted me to talk about trust. So I'm going to talk about trust today. Give you some ideas why it's important. I went to dinner with some neighbors and they were talking about, they asked about trust, and they listened to Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey suggests that if you don't have a lot of money, you don't need a trust because it complicates things. I don't agree. I think having a trust less complicates things. Once you understand the power of what a trust can do for you. I don't agree with that. And, you know, Dave Ramsey, he speaks to the hardworking middle class for the most part. Saving money, putting money in your 401k, and so you can have a nice nest egg when you retire, which is great. So, but I don't think you need to have a lot of money in order to have a trust. Because if you have a trust, especially an irrevocable one, irrevocable trust is its own person. It's its own individual. It's separate from the grantor. An irrevocable trust. Actually, I have my dictionary of finance and investment terms. Everyone should get this book. The John Downs, Jordan Elliott Goodman, 4th edition, Dictionary of Finance and Investment Terms. Get the whatever edition you can find. It's not that expensive. It's only $11.95 for this book. And it has in here irrevocable living trust. Trust usually created to achieve some tax benefit or to provide a vehicle for managing assets of a person the creator believes cannot or should not be managing his own property. This trust cannot be changed or reversed by the creator of the trust. Irrevocable trust that cannot be changed or terminated by the one who created it without the agreement of the beneficiary. So you'll hear, oh, you don't want to, just in general, don't create a irrevocable trust because you can't change that. I'm just reading here that it can be changed with the agreement of the beneficiary. Right? And if you understand how I go about helping set up trust, is the trustee is not an actual breathing living person. It is another trust, which we call the personal trust. And a beneficiary can well be the person who created the trust. So that means you can change the trust. You can buy property, take title to it, and if you have in the language that the trustee can buy and take title to property. So if you put a piece of property in there, your trustee can buy, sell property, put property in the trust, take property out. See, it's all about how you structure the trust, whether it can be changed or not. So if you set it up where you have what I would say an expression where if you need to put a property in or out, then the trustee can do that. And then the trustee, who's a entity of its own, who is controlled by an actual individual controlling that trust. I'm not going to go too deep into the mythology. That's mainly for my premium group members. But I'll tell you this. In no way in any trust setup, the actual spiritual you, the person, or the individual. I don't even like using the word because in law, individual person all means fictional entities in the legal world. People like to say flesh and blood. Let's just say that. Flesh and blood you is not really the one who owns it. Your trust takes care of it. Your trustee, which is another trust, your personal trust is handling it, but you control all of it. You are it's like you're the puppet master. You got all your in-legacies, all your legal entities, your fictional entities in front of you, and you're just puppeting those so that you are not the one who's liable. Those trusts are. So, and insurance companies don't have, hey, this car's in a trust. Okay, what's the trust name? Matter of fact, I gotta go and take care of my I just, it's insurance renewal time, and I remember I gotta go and take care of something with that. I hope it ain't too late. It's 8:17. But so that's an irrevocable trust. I read that one. Then just trust in general, what it says in this book. Like I said, you guys should get this book. Just have it on hand. So you dealing with financial deals all the time, and you want to understand what these words mean that they're throwing at you. All right, let's see. All right, I'm getting close. Trust. Business. Trust in the business terms, it says type of corporate combination engaged in monopolies and restraint of trade and that operated freely until the antitrust laws of the late 19th century and early 20th century. The name derived from the use of the voting trust in which a small number of trustees vote a majority of the shares of a corporation. The voting trust survives as a means of facilitating the reorganization of firms in difficulty. See also investment company voting trust certificate. Law, fiduciary relationship in which a person called a trustee holds title to property for the benefit of another. So that's the job of a trustee, to hold title to property for the benefit of another, called the beneficiary. The agreement that establishes the trust contains its provisions and set forth the powers of the trustee is called the trust indenture. The person creating the trust is the creator, settler, grantor, or donor. The property itself is called the corpus, trust res, trust fund, or trust estate, which is distinguished from any income earned by it. If the trust is created while the donor is living, it is called a living trust or inter vivos trust. A trust created by a will is called a testamentary trust. The trustee is usually charged with investing trust property productively and, unless specifically limited, can sell, mortgage, or lease the property as he or she deems warranted. See also charitable remainder trust, Clifford trust, investment trust, revisionary trust, trust company, trustee in bankruptcy, Trust Indenture Act of 1939. Trust company, organization usually combined with a commercial bank, which is engaged as a trustee, fiduciary, or agent for individuals or business in the administration of trust funds, estates, custodial arrangements, stock transfer, registration, other related services. Trust companies also engage in fiduciary investment management functions and estate planning. They are regulated by state law. So, what would be an example of a trust company? Places like Fidelity, Merrill Lynch. all of those investment places. Those are trust companies. Because why? You hand over your money to them for them to manage and give you advice on what to invest in. Those are trust companies. That's it with this book when it comes to trust. So why would it be a good idea for you to set up a trust? Well, one thing I can say is like you have all your personal bills, right? You can't write off all those bills under the social. You can't do it. It won't allow it. The tax laws don't allow that, right? They'll allow you to get uh interest write-offs. If you have a home, you get the interest written off. That's about it. But you don't get the payments written off. But if you had the home in a trust, because the trust is like a business entity, it can write off all of the expenses, the payments that it's making, the interest that's being paid on it. If you had your utilities in the trust, you could write those off because that's a trust expense. Basically a business expense. And I think what I'm finding talking to more and more people as they get familiar with trust, they don't understand that you get a debit card just like any other bank account. You'll get a debit card so you can transact business with a debit card, just like you would a personal account or any other account. That's where I think that's where the disconnect comes when people's trust, because the first thing, well, how am I going to spend my money? Well, you spend it just like you do in any other account with a debit card. The only thing now, everything you're doing is out of your trust account where you're going to put money into. And now you take those bank statements and show that you had expenses for your trust. You see? Light bills, water bills, all your utilities, put them in everything. Now you can write off bills you normally wouldn't be able to write off if you had them under your personal name. See, you got to understand this system is designed to tell you to do stuff that only benefits this system and encourage them to get more funds out of your pocket. See, the people who are running businesses, they're looking for tax advantages, ways to lessen their taxes. This is why this whole, whenever they promote, raise the taxes for the rich, that's never going to happen. And I'm going to tell you why it'll never happen. Because it's less people out there that are making a lot of money. I mean, that's making lots and lots of money than it is people who don't make money. So if I have millions of people that are in that medium income and lower paying me taxes, I'm gonna get money, a lot of money out of them versus the rich person, even though they make a lot of money. The tax laws are set up to help the people who make a lot of money. And one of the reasons why they do that is because the people who have the billionaires, the people that own the big corporations, they entice people, regular folks, to come work for them so that they can be their withholding agent and take taxes out of their paycheck and give it to the government. See, that's how come they get the big tax breaks, because they're helping the government increase tax revenue. If I have just imagine, I have this big corporation and I'm an international corporation and I'm hiring thousands of people a year. And then I have you come into your onboarding meeting. First thing I hand you is a W-4 form to say how much you are going to contribute to take out for taxes before you even get your check. They want to know how much I'm going to take from this person based on the dependents they put on there. You see? That's why you'll never find a tax. They'll talk about raising tax for the wealthy and things like that. They'll talk about that. That's all it is. It's just talk. And if you've been around long enough, that's all you've been hearing. But has it really happened? No, because it's no need for it to happen. It's so many people down at the bottom scraping and trying to survive that's giving away their money, getting their money taken out of their check. And I say giveaway because once you understand what that W-4 form really says, if you knew the rules on that, you'd be like, wait a minute, I am giving away my money. Money I actually worked hard for and traded my time, traded labor for a paycheck and my time. So if you sit back and you really concentrate, I'm like, wait a minute, why do they need to go after the rich when there's so many people on the other level that's just giving billions of dollars away a paycheck, a pay period? Let's say, what's the U.S. workforce numbers? Like, by the way, I think today was the actual election for president. The certification of Donald Trump actually being the official president, where the electors got in there and they that was the real presidential election. The other one was just you checking off a box. They say in September 2024, the labor force reached a record high of 168.7 million civilians. Right. So let's just on a low end, every pay period, you got what? How many weeks in a year? 52? Some people get paid every 2 weeks. So let's cut that down to 24. Let's just say on average, the taxes, and I'm going to do a low number, $200 they're taking out per pay period. So see if we can get this number. It's going to be some crazy number. Well, what's it? 52 is 52 weeks in a year. Am I correct? 52, 54. What is it? If they just took $100, let's just do it really low. I'm doing it low. The numbers is crazy. They're taking, when I put the number in, 168, 700. It's crazy. what they getting the average worker for, the number is crazy. If I told you what this calculator just showed me, I'm like, we getting ripped. This is why they're not going to ever create laws that benefit or tax the rich more than the regular folks, because it's no need. They getting it already. They are getting it. Yes, granted that some of the stuff comes back in refund through credits, but they never really give back everything. Unless you are you got a lot of dependents and you're in the poverty line. And if you know anything about it, that line is very thin. It peaks off and then it drops back off. And most households, well, if you're married, that's 2-income household. So they're taxing both the husband and the wife. And then a 1-parent household, depending on what that person makes, they're probably getting some credits. But the tax system is set up to only really go after the people who need money the most. You see? So that's why if you could set up a structure that could help you minimize your taxes, you should do so. Just imagine if you could write off your car payment. You go buy your car with your trust, and you can write that off. You can write that car payment off. Imagine that. Because you can't do that with a social. You just got to keep making that payment until you pay it off. Imagine being able to write off your utility, like a business, like I have businesses, right? I could write my utilities off. Any expense that I create under my business, cell phone, maintenance, repair, in the trucking company, our expenses is through the roof. Insurance alone is about 40 grand a year to maintain 3 trucks and 2 trailers. That's not counting gas expenses and maintenance issues. And then you got employee pay. See, this is why businesses, if you own a business or you operate like a business, and to me, having a trust is like, if you don't have a business where you buying, selling merchandise or you offering something to the public, trust is, to me, the next best thing you could have to get better write-offs. Just set this up, put everything in trust, and now I got these write-offs. Let's see what the comments are saying. Let's see. Somebody had some. DJ B Thunder said, with those crazy numbers, do you think they will really let Trump try to get rid of the IRS? I don't think they would, but I think we'll have a world war before they get rid of the IRS. But if they're gonna get rid of, if there is a plan to get rid of the IRS, that means that something else is gonna come take its place that's worse than the IRS. That's the way I see it. It's an old system. It's an old system. So to get rid of the IRS is basically, that would cause some gridlock. So, all right. Give me a second. There we go. When I tried to calculate my calculator, calculate the taxes that they're getting from everybody based on the amount of people in the workforce, this is what my calculator did. I don't even know how to interpret that. That's what it did. Because I calculated that over a year's period, the average person working, because I based it off a $200 taxes being taken out of a check per pay period, and then times that by the amount of people in the workforce. And that's what it gave me. So that's based off each person putting in $10,400 of their paycheck into the coming out of their check a year. Yeah, it went into scientific mode. That's how big the number was. It went, your calculator can't handle this number. we got it. I don't even know how to interpret that. 1.754448E12. What does that mean? Maybe, let me see if I can get the answer somewhere else. I know who I'm asking, right? Chat GPT. Okay, so they're saying that this is equivalent to $1.75448 trillion that they're getting from the average. And I gave low numbers. I did average $200 a pay period coming out of a check for taxes. So you know it's more than that. $1.75448 trillion from the American people in the workforce. So why do they need to go after the big people? No, because the big people are farming you into the system by way of the W-4. Farming you in. Hey, you got to fill this out. You can't get this job unless you fill this out. This is our onboarding process. So we got Indie Circle Ministry is in the house. Pastor JL Wright is in the house. Hey, what's up, brother? Ain't seen you in a while. Peace, love, prosperity, and extreme wealth. DJB Thunder says, evening, everyone. Son of the True King. Sound is good. Thank you. New baby, increase in family. Oh, new baby. Yeah, new baby. Well, congratulations if that's what you're saying. I'll be digging up plumbing pipes in the cold tomorrow. LOL, but got to get it done. Yeah, it's gonna be cold. Tax-free EIN. I don't know what that means. Red Mitchell says thumbs up. AY said greetings, Akeem. Peace. What address should I use for my personal trust EIN? Oh, anything but your house, where you lay your head at. Enough money to end world hunger and homeless. Absolutely. Move the decimal point 12 spaces to the right. Okay. Guess that's how you get it. Guess that's what chat GPT said. Says understand D12 equal 10 to the 12th power. So there you have it. Did if I didn't give you enough reason to set up a trust, how you can write off these bills, and then there's other benefits to setting up the trust that I teach in the membership, where people are getting their mortgages paid off, getting their cars paid off, getting their bank accounts, deposits recouped back. All that stuff they've been teaching y'all for years to try to do, and you had no success, or you received problems from it. It's taught or shown. What time is it? 8:42. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. Shoot. Yeah, 3:30 in the morning. Took a little nap in between that, maybe an hour. That's how my New Year's been. I have been getting up early, doing stuff, and going. When I get off of this, I might run down and grab a little snack and go to bed. All right. Well, there you have it on trust. Go set your trust up and start getting them write-offs. All right. I will see y'all tomorrow evening, bright and early. Let's see what someone's got a comment here. Does the trust have to be structured any kind of way before you can make purchases in it? No. People don't really see when you buy anything with a trust, they don't see what your actual trust says. All they want to see is a trust certificate. That's it. So the trust certificate is going to say whether the trustee can buy and take title of property. So if you're buying a car, it just needs to say that in it. They just want to see who the trustee is, what's the name of the trust, and the EIN number and the address of the trust. It doesn't have to be structured in any specific way because they will never see what the structure is. They will never see that. And what they will do is if you're taking out a loan, they will use you as the co-borrower. The trust will be the borrower and you will be the co-borrower. So you basically will be co-borrowing or co-signing for your trust. So you will sign your name. Like when it comes to like for the trust, you got to sign on both sides. One side, you just sign, write the name of the trust. And then the other side, you sign as a co-borrower trustee. Something like I gotta look at the contract how I did it. It's either you sign as trustee on under the trust, and then if you're gonna be the co-borrower, then you sign as yourself as the co-borrower. The reason why you have to be the co-borrower is because the trust doesn't have any credit, it hasn't built up any history. So it's just like you having no credit. You need a co-borrower. So the trust is gonna need a guarantor or a co-borrower to get it off the ground. All right. Now you might hear these myths out here. Oh, put some put some trade lines on it and stuff like that. There's possible ways of putting trade lines on it, like open up accounts with different places. But at the fastest and easiest way to get it off the ground is you guarantee. If your credit's good, you guarantee it. You guarantee it. See, if you were gonna buy a car anyway, right? You're gonna use your you're gonna buy it as the borrower. So the best position to be in is the co-borrower, because now you're building credit for an entity that can get way more credit than your regular number. use your SSN or passport number. You can't use a passport number to co-sign. No. They're going to want a SSN or EIN or TIN to do that. Can't use your passport number. All right. With the way things are now, where the banks are wanting you to verify whether that number is an EIN or social security number, using any other number is not going to work anymore. And plus, now you have to disclose what type of number it is now. They close up those gaps. The days of the CPN are pretty much gone. All right? Because people abused it. Went in there and took money and didn't pay it back. The whole use of a CPN was supposed to be for staying private, not using your social. Because you have a right not to disclose that. But people used it to defraud and steal. And now, because of that, it has hurt the legitimate people. All right. So there you have it on trust. I hope that helped. And if you need further information on that, you can always go to akimel.com and set up a consultation. They're only $50 now. They're not $97 anymore. All right. I cut it down to when I first started this, $50. I brought it way down. And y'all keeping me busy with that little 50. Oh man, I got people getting consultation 3-4 times a week. Now, same person. I am holding a 1099 class just to show you how to fill out 1099s. I'm not going to teach you how to do your tax return. I don't do taxes, but I do have the information on how to fill out the 1099s. This is exclusively for non-members of my group. Non-members. Members don't need it. They already have the information. All right. But the benefit of being a member of the group is because you can't just do 1099s without doing a tax return. You got to do a tax return to go with that. People, this whole mail it in and just wait for you. Like, I remember there was some group teaching this. Fill out your 1099s. We're going to be your trustee. We'll fill them out, get them sent in. And they were charging people to do this. And then once it went to the IRS, they were trying to buy homes. So they was doing 1099s on homes they hadn't even purchased yet. So they were going out looking for homes, putting the home on hold, saying that they were waiting for something to come back from the IRS. And then somehow the home was going to get paid off once they sent in this 1099. I knew that wasn't going to work because once you understand how 1099s work, you got to send a 1099. They send it to the company. And then they get processed on a tax return. These people never did a tax return. To close, the 1099 is just an information form. It tells the story of what transaction took place. It doesn't trigger anything. It doesn't trigger where you will have an overpayment or underpayment to the IRS. It just shows what happened. And once you do the tax return and all of that data is put together, the tax return says what you're owed or what you do owe. Just like you get a W-2. That's another form of a 1099. It's an informational form. A W form is the information. It tells how much money you made throughout the year. And you take that to your tax preparer, give them that. They fill out a tax form, tax return on you based on that W-2. Same thing with any like a 1099. Any 1099 it says what it's for. Like a 1099B is what the bank is supposed to fill out based off all your deposits throughout the year, but they never do it because they don't want you to be able to claim those funds. But that's what the bank is supposed to do. The 1099-B is the bank's job to fill out, but they don't do it. Because what happens is, if you don't claim those funds, in 3 years, they get to keep it. Because you don't know anything. And they don't like it because once you do it, they close your bank. They close it. They shut you down. Some of them don't. Not all of them do. Some of them will. Not all of them do that. But your bigger banks, they're going to shut you down. Your big commercial banks, they're going to shut you down. And you can't do 1099-Bs on credit unions. Can't do it. Don't work. All right, whatever you need, go to akemail.com. You need a consultation, get it. Because since I've lowered my consultation down to $50, I notice I'm getting more emails where people are just asking me to give them a consultation through an email. I don't do consultation through emails. I don't do consultations through text. The reason why? Because I can't explain myself very clearly through text or emails. Too much to type. I'd rather talk to you. And plus, a lot of times your texts and your emails come through when I'm in the midst of running my other business, or in the midst of actually having a consultation with someone who's paid for that time. So I'd appreciate it if you got a question. akemail.com. If you're in my premium group, you can wait for our meetings that we have. In January, we have a meeting every Monday because of the 1099. Making sure everybody's got that straight. All right. I'm going to leave it at that and keep it moving. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone. Have a good night. See, anything you have fear of, you are making it your God. Because God didn't give you the spirit of fear. That's clearly said in the Bible. He didn't give you give yourself that by choosing false gods. See, false God is not just a golden calf that you worship. A false God is when you get into a situation and you think that situation is bigger than God. That becomes your God in that moment because you think this situation is more powerful than the God that gave you life.